On August the 8th, Ukraine made the headlines with a bold and unexpected move into Russia's Kursk Oblast. Ukrainian forces launched a rapid and decisive invasion, though Putin might prefer to call it a special military operation, swiftly capturing several border towns. Over the last 10 days, they seized control of approximately 1,000 square kilometers, including 82 settlements, which is more than Russia has taken in the last year. However, to put things into perspective, this is only a tiny fraction of Russia. As we zoom out, you can see that this area is rather small, compared to Russia's vast total territory of approximately 17 million square kilometers. Experts are buzzing with speculation that Ukraine wants to continue its offensive until it reaches the river lines, offering a more defensible position in this ongoing conflict. Look at this river line right here. Ukraine has already blown up all 3 bridges capable of carrying heavy military hardware. One here, here, and here, potentially trapping Russian forces between Ukraine and the river. This maneuver could lead to Ukraine taking control of this entire region as well. Now, while this is not Operation Barbarossa, and it never will be, it is very damaging to Russia's reputation and war effort in Ukraine, and Putin is visibly annoyed.
Противник при помощи своих западных хозяев, он выполняет их волю, и руками украинцев Запад с нами воюет. Так вот, судя по всему, противник стремится к улучшению своих переговорных позиций в будущем.
That said, Ukraine won't be able to make gains forever, and will likely be pushed back eventually, which makes us wonder, why did Ukraine do this? Has it been a success? And what can we expect from Russia and the future of the war in eastern and northern Ukraine? And this video will cover all of this.
Є за сьогодні хороші, потрібні нам результати у знищенні російської техніки під Торецьком. І це все більш ніж захист для України. Це зараз основне завдання наших оборонних дій загалом. Знищити якомога більше російського потенціалу війни. І проводити максимум контрударної роботи. Зокрема, це і створення буферної зони на території агресора, наша операція в Курській області.
This marked the first time the Ukrainian president clearly stated the aim of the operation. He likely seeks to create a buffer between Russia and the Sumy area to limit shelling and prevent a potential Russian advance, similar to what was experienced in the Kharkiv area. While this is the only official objective, there has been much speculation about what Ukraine's attack on the Kursk Oblast is supposed to achieve. Some believe the Ukrainian assault may be strategically designed to draw highly trained Russian troops away from the Donbas region, thereby relieving pressure on eastern Ukraine. Reports indicate that Russia has already started moving troops from Kaliningrad to Kursk, but whether Russia is moving troops away from eastern Ukraine is unclear. Additionally, this operation appears to be aimed at shifting the narrative in Ukraine's favor. On the one hand, it's a bid to show the Russian people that Vladimir Putin isn't the all-powerful provider of security he would have them believe. And on the other hand, it serves to raise Ukrainian morale and create a positive news cycle in the EU and US media. It demonstrates to the West that Ukraine remains a capable military force.
Українська армія вміє дивувати.
This shift in focus is particularly important as the narrative had previously been dominated by the Israel-Hamas conflict. Another potential motive for the attack on Kursk is to secure leverage before any future peace negotiations, especially before winter sets in. Holding Russian territory could strengthen Ukraine's position, using it as a bargaining chip to eventually trade for Russian-occupied territory in Ukraine. Though the ongoing fighting in eastern Ukraine suggests that the conflict is far from over. Furthermore, some say the operation challenges the perception of Russia's red lines.
Тем, кто позволяет себе такие заявления в отношении России, хочу напомнить, что наша страна также располагает различными средствами поражения, а по отдельным компонентам и более современными, чем у стран НАТО. И при угрозе территориальной целостности нашей страны для защиты России и нашего народа мы, безусловно, используем все имеющиеся в нашем распоряжении средства. Это не блеф.
Putin has made these threats throughout the war, warning the West against supporting Ukraine, sending military equipment to Ukraine, or invading Russian territory. However, these threats have proven to be largely empty, thereby paving the way for Ukraine to increasingly utilize Western weapons even within Russian borders. So these are the potential motives of Ukraine invading Russia. However, with the exception of our reason number 1, Ukraine has kept very quiet about the whole operation, leaving us with little concrete information about their true intentions. What we do know, though, is that Russia immediately leapt into action. The head of Russia's armed forces claimed, following the usual script, that everything was under control. This despite the fact that 180,000 people were in the process of being evacuated to makeshift communal tents. In fact, the Russians published a video of a Russian attack helicopter destroying a military column in the Kursk region with guided missile fire, only to later realize that they had attacked their own forces. Nonetheless, while everything's looking good for Ukraine so far, can it be labeled a success? Assuming these are the 5 objectives for Ukraine, the first can be seen as a partial success. There's now a substantial buffer between the Sumy and Kursk oblasts, particularly if Ukraine secures this area too, which seems like a good possibility with the destruction of the 3 bridges. The second objective hasn't been achieved yet, as there's no evidence of troops moving from Donbas to Kursk. In a worst-case scenario, if Russia rapidly deploys significant troops and air power to Kursk, they could quickly push Ukrainian forces back. This might result in a large portion of Ukrainian forces being overrun without time to organize a proper retreat, severely undermining Ukraine's position both on the battlefield and with its international supporters. In addition, if Russia makes significant gains in the Donbas, while Ukraine is focused on Kursk, the entire operation could be in vain. The sacrifices made in Kursk might amount to nothing if Russia strengthens its hold on the Donbas, where they are currently closing in on a city called Pokrovsk. Therefore, Ukraine's boldness still carries considerable risk. The third objective is clearly a success. Ukraine is back in the headlines, with key EU and US figures praising its resolve. Moreover, Putin's image has weakened. Eventually, Ukraine's allies might even allow the use of long-range missiles against targets deep within Russian territory. The success of the 4th and 5th objective is still uncertain. While holding Russian land might improve Ukraine's leverage, they must retain control, and Russia must be willing to negotiate, something not yet evident. As for Putin's red lines, it's a risky game. Although he hasn't acted on his nuclear threats, pushing him further than ever before could change that. So, can this change the direction of the war? The Kursk offensive is a significant move that could reshape the conflict. No matter how it ends, Ukraine will likely keep targeting weak points along its border with Russia. This means Russia will have to strengthen its defenses and focus on other areas of the war beyond just the east and south. But as we are an EU channel, what does all of this mean for the European Union? Well, the EU is heavily invested in the war, throwing full support behind Ukraine and spending billions. A European Commission spokesperson has already stated that Ukraine's invasion of Kursk is legitimate and part of their right to defend themselves. However, within many EU countries there are political parties, though in the minority, that do not support EU aid to Ukraine. Positive news on Ukraine making progress could weaken these dissenting voices and slow their growth. This could also shift the European news narrative to be more pro-Ukraine, as the success stories generate a lot of positive coverage. So, has the invasion into Kursk Oblast been a success? So far, things look good, but it's too early to tell without knowing the official objectives from Ukraine itself. We'll have to wait and see how Russia reacts and what else Ukraine has in store. Thank you so much for watching, and a special shout out to our Discord members that helped with the script. You guys are awesome. And if you're hungry for more, don't miss our video on whether we really need NATO in the EU, or dive into why the EU even exists. Spoiler alert, it's a key reason we're not constantly at war, and this video will show you why. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and if you want to support us even more, consider joining our Patreon. See you in the next video.